We're at the Kgosi Mampuru Correctional Services facility in the heart of the capital city, where inmates will also be afforded the opportunity to participate in the country's election process. Of course, the Minister for Correctional Services, Ronald Lamola, joins me right now as the inmates start their voting process. Minister, a lot of South Africans, it's a question that comes up time and time again every time when we have elections about the necessity of inmates to also participate in elections.
Yeah, inmates are treated in terms of the Nelson Mandela rules, that they are like all human beings. They've got constitutional rights, so they enjoy all the constitutional rights that any other South African enjoys. The only difference is that they are in a confined space, meaning that we will then have to arrange a special dispensation for them to be able to exercise their democratic right, which we have done across the country in all the centers. Those that are registered will therefore be casting their vote, and I can tell you that we have got about 17,129 registered inmates across the country. This is the highest registered voter available on our voters roll in the whole country. Kgosi Mampuru, which has got about 2,908 voters, and
the highest as well in Gauteng as a collective. It's over 4,000 that are expected to cast their vote in the Gauteng province.
4,879, yes, is also the highest in the country. So we encourage them to come out and vote. They are exercising their democratic right to participate in the elections, and I think they are very excited. As you can see, they are all participating, and they are treated fairly and like every other South African citizen. It's not a special treatment or a hotel, as South Africans usually says.
Talking about not a hotel, of course, we understand that part of the cornerstone for the inmates is to rehabilitate them. Them participating in the country's election process, how does that add value to our constitutional democracy?
Indeed, anyone who is inside here, they can tell it's not a hotel, it's not nice, but it's very important for them to participate, because remember, inmates, the correctional facilities are governed in terms of the laws, so they have to exercise their rights. They are also it's also part of their rehabilitation, because one day they will go out to society when their sentences expires. They must be rehabilitated. There must be a community engagement with society, and also society accepting them as human beings and not stigmatize them. And we always say that inmates are like everyone. They've got the right to work. There's no law that says inmates should not be working, except where they have been put in the offender for sexual register and so forth, particular offenses where they will not be allowed. But when they are allowed to do work, make a positive contribution in society, economically or socially, it helps to rehabilitate. It also helps to reduce crime, because they usually no longer reoffend. So all this is a societal issue that society needs to help us with the rehabilitation.
And lastly, the logistics that go into ensuring that their voices are also included in deciding who should govern South Africa. What are the logistics? How complicated is it, in particular when we take these safety and security aspects into consideration?
Yeah, it's not an easy one. As you can see, we need a lot of manpower for them to come out in a controlled environment, a security one, to vote and then go back into their facilities. It's also this type of logistics that makes it impossible for us to enable kind of campaigning, because it means every time someone from a political party has to come, we need to arrange all these logistics. It's costly, but at least with this one, we've been helped with the assistance of the IEC to enable them to vote, and ourselves, we've also enabled our resources to be available for our officials to be here, who have done a special vote so that they can be able to help. So all these logistics are indeed very difficult, but we have done our best to enable a free and fair environment for them to vote.
All right, thank you so much. Minister for Correctional Services, Ronald Lamola, just ushering in in the voting process for inmates here at one of the biggest correctional services facilities in Gauteng. We're in Pretoria. It is Kgosi Mampuru. Of course, as the Minister just reiterated, that over 17,000 inmates nationally will be casting their votes today. Gauteng has the highest number at close to 5,000, and Kgosi Mampuru at about 3,000 who are expected to also participate. Of course, just to take you back, inmates started voting in the country after a landmark ruling in 1999 that allowed them to also have a say in the country's democratic process. It's back to studio.